Hey everybody, Ingra Sparkman here from Southbridge Street Live, and I just wanted to let you guys know that we have banded together with CASA, Golden Crescent CASA of Victoria, for their annual backpack drive. Now I know it's summertime, so this is a crazy time to be thinking about school, but for organizations like CASA, they need to gather materials and supplies for children all year long. So this is it for the next couple of weeks. On Southbridge Live, you're going to see that some of my guests will be bringing in backpacks themselves. If you also would like to donate a backpack or school supplies, you can come by our studio at 1102 North William Street, or you can call me at 361-649-1825, and I'll be happy to come by, pick up backpacks and supplies to help support our local Golden Crescent CASA. Happy Tuesday, everybody, and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Southbridge Street Live. I'm actually here with my very dear friend, Teri Moten, and you have Moten Consulting Group.
Yes.
And we're going to talk today about some of the things that you do for new businesses and small businesses in the community. But okay. If you guys don't know, if you don't recognize her from Empowered Women Rock, you might actually recognize her because you are definitely a community activist. You're in lots of organizations.
Absolutely.
So now we only have a 20-minute show, but we'd love for you to tell us what kind of organizations that you're involved in.
So a lot of women's organizations, which
right.
A lot of times people are surprised to hear about the number of organizations here in Victoria for women.
Right.
But there's two different American Business Women's
yes,
Association
there's
chapters.
VPEN and
WG10.
Yep, WG10.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So I'm involved in both of those.
Mm-hmm. Oh, do you really go to both of them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I'm on the
cool.
board of both of them actually. So,
cool.
So that's pretty cool.
So the VPEN is the Victoria Professionals
Express Network,
which meets at noon.
Yes.
At the Victoria Country Club. This is just business women, and they meet the second.
It is the third Wednesday of every month.
Wednesday of every month. So if you are a woman who wants to network, this is a great opportunity for you to join an organization like VPEN.
Right.
And then there's also the WG10.
Yes.
And that is like in the same genre.
So
and they meet when?
It's the second Tuesday in the evening.
The second Tuesday. That's why, because I shifted to the evening one. Yes, so that's the evening one, and that is at the
Colony Creek.
At the Colony Creek Country Club. So it's a lunch if you are in VPEN, or a dinner if you're in WG10.
Right.
And it's just networking. So keep going, girl, because I know there's more.
So also in MOB.
Mom-owned businesses.
And happy to have you out for the first time.
Gosh,
it was so cool.
So much fun, and
Absolutely.
I got such a great. I had such an opportunity to meet with women, and then, oh my goodness, you guys, Terri gave me a card just randomly to visit with a woman, a 30-minute consultation with a woman named Gwen, who I didn't even realize didn't even live in Victoria. So she's a mom in another state.
Exactly.
And she gave me some phenomenal advice.
Awesome.
Some phenomenal advice. 30-minute consultation.
Exactly. And that's great about MOB because we just network all across the country.
Yes,
it's pretty cool.
And I did, in your write-up, I wrote, she's a bit of a marketing networking guru. Because you really are. I mean,
that's what I call myself.
Yeah.
I call myself a curator of resources and a super connector.
I love super connector.
Like to
and
connect
a curator
the dots.
of
a
resources.
Curator of resources.
This is awesome. And this
Absolutely.
is part what your consulting group does?
Correct.
Tell me all about it.
Okay. So I do have a day job. So I've been in medical sales for about the past 10 years. So I do pathology lab sales during the day.
You also have a real job.
So during the day, I'm calling on doctors' offices and hospitals and things like that. But I also have a business consulting practice, and I've really had to kind of narrow my scope because in kind of being that curator of resources, people come to me. I will get texts, I will get emails,
phone calls.
At least 3 to 5 a day.
Facebook messages.
For people who need anything. And that's one of the things I tell people kind of first and foremost is if you need something, I don't care if you're an individual that has a full-time job, if you're a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad, or you've got a business, if you need something, let me know. So I don't care if you need a mechanic or you need a business loan. one of the things I did is I really went out and vetted a lot of professionals and resources, because I want to give people the comfort of saying, here's what I need, but Terri can recommend somebody that's been vetted that will take care of me.
Right, right.
So I just love doing that. I love connecting
How long have
those
you been
dots.
doing that?
Interesting story on how that got started.
I love an interesting story. Go
So
ahead.
I moved to Dallas. Gosh, I don't know. I was 24 years old, like something like 1999 or something, and got my financial services license. So I was a financial advisor. I didn't know anybody there. So I knew my sister, who was starting at SMU, and I knew my boyfriend at the time. And so here I am, a financial advisor, big, humongous metroplex, and they give us these American Express leads, cardholder leads is who we're supposed to call. And I realized immediately, I'm too warm, fuzzy. I don't like cold calling.
Right.
I can't do that. So I just started trying to develop relationships everywhere I went. And one of the things I didn't want to have happen, I told myself, I said, I do not ever want a client of mine to, call their sister and say, hey, do you know a good hairdresser? And the sister said, yeah, I've got this great hairdresser for you. And let me introduce you to my financial advisor. I've got a great financial advisor. So in my mind, I said, I'm going to place a hedge of protection around my clients. And I want them to call me for anything they need. I don't want them to look to anyone else for any resource, whether business or personal. And so for the past 20 years, that's what I've done. Anytime somebody needs something, if I don't directly have that contact, people see me on Facebook post a lot of times, who do you know that you can recommend that does this?
Right.
Because again, and I put a hedge of protection around my clients. I want them to call me for anything they need, and I want to be a resource. So
you've really, really, really dedicated, so many years to that, so that you really actually can tell. You can call Terri and be like, "What do you think about these shoes with this dress?" I mean, that's how
Really?
much resource that she will,
Absolutely,
invest.
will help out.
But you told me something the other day that I thought was really interesting.
Okay.
And you said for small businesses, you might have some resources for them for finances. Tell me a little bit about that.
So, it's not in the vein of financial planning, because I no longer do that. But what a lot of small businesses don't realize is there are so many specialized tax incentives out there for them, Ingra, and they don't know about them. A lot of times they think, well, my tax person will let me know about it. And I'm not a tax professional. I don't do taxes.
Exactly.
I don't compete with tax professionals, but I can help be that tax advisor's best friend, because I also have access to a company who will look at a small business, and there are, when I say there are hundreds of tax incentives, everything from types of people that you hire, backgrounds they come from, different types of tax incentives you get there, different tax incentives. If it's a fabrication company or a research company, there's just hundreds of them. And I've got access to a company who will look at a business and say, kind of run them through a process and say, here are the specialized incentives you qualify for. Let us do the paperwork and get that information to your tax advisor. So now your tax advisor can just go file that for you.
Wow.
But here's the reason why a lot of times the tax advisor may not have brought it up to the business owner. A lot of times small businesses, when do they sit down? When do they meet with their tax person?
Once a year.
It's once a year. So the tax advisor doesn't know they've hired 10 people earlier in the year. And a lot of these tax incentives are time sensitive.
Right.
So what I do is I help work with that advisor, that tax person, and say, hey, here's some tax incentives your client qualifies for. Here's all the information. All you've got to do is file it.
Right.
And it's not small change. It is literally thousands to tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars in money that can be put back in a business's pocket.
Wow.
They just have to know that it's there.
Right, that it's there. So where when it comes to that particular clientele, because I think that's going to be that's going to perk a lot of ears up just in this interview alone. Wait, I'm a small business. What are kind of some of my tax incentives? When is the right time to call you, or is any time the right time to call you for that particular thing? You're ready for people to start?
Anytime during the year.
Not just in startup business, but as things are growing and expanding.
Absolutely. So whether it's a startup, whether it's somebody in growth mode, whether it's a business that's looking to, at their exit strategy,
right?
They don't want to leave any money on the table with tax incentives,
right?
And those incentives change every year too. So it's hard for they just don't know they exist, and so I help them with that, and I don't charge for that either. So who would have thought? The way it works is, again, the company that I kind of have a collaboration with.
Yes.
It's all on contingency basis. They they do all the work to see if this business qualifies for something. If they do, they just kind of do a revenue share of that tax credit.
Yep.
If they can't find anything, the business hasn't come out of anything out of pocket.
Right, and what have you lost if you never even knew that it was there to begin with?
Nothing at all, exactly.
Wow, that's fascinating. So as someone who networks, what advice would you give to a business, let's say a woman in particular, who, because I know that you guys do address this in Empowered Women Rock, so we should probably shout out to Misty. Hey
Misty.
Hey girl. But what advice would you give? So I'm Ingrid Sparkman. I'm totally lost in, I need to develop a business. I can come to you as a consultant and say, okay, can you kind of help me out? What are some things? What is some advice that you would give me?
So the first thing I would say is you need to start surrounding yourself with the right tribe, because just because you've got people around you doesn't mean that they're going to give you the right information and the right advice. Too many times when people, especially women, want to start a business, a lot of times we get started because, we make great brownies and somebody tells us, oh man, Ingrid, your brownies are the bomb. You need to go open a business.
I do make amazing brownies.
We got to try that. but, people tell us we do something great, or we have a passion for something we can do really well. We know how to do makeup really well. So we want to kind of go into that business. But number one, we haven't looked to see, is there even a market for that skill, that product in the area? And we see that a lot here in Victoria, where, a business will open and, not too long down the road, they ended up closing. So first you've got to get with the right people that'll help you see whether or not you have a market. One of the best resources out there for beginning businesses, even if you know you want to be in business, you have no idea what, it's going to be the UHV Small Business Development Center.
You are not even kidding.
They're amazing. They're amazing. And I tell people they will give thousands of dollars in consultation, and they're not charging because it's taxpayer funded. Right. So it's no out of pocket cost. So that's the first thing I would say, talk to SBDC. Second thing, and specifically for women, is you've got to network, and you've got to get outside of your immediate tribe, because your friends will, you typically do one of two things. They'll rah-rah you when sometimes you need some tough love and somebody with some business acumen to say, here's some things that you need to consider changing. Or you have some people that are seemingly in your corner and not really in your corner. Right. And you want to go into something and they want to, for lack of a better term, kind of throw salt in it because they don't want to see you get ahead of them. Right. So surround yourself with the right tribe. And in doing that, start going to some of these networking groups. Start looking at women who are doing things in the community. Right. And I promise most of the women out there want to help other women. We just need to know you want us to help you with something. Right, exactly. We're happy.
And to know too that you're even starting a business.
Yes.
It's really kind of getting that word out there.
Absolutely. And then the last thing I would say is, don't be afraid. Fear is the biggest thing that I see so many times, specifically that hold women back from starting something. Because you don't have to perfect example, you don't have to give up that day job immediately, or ever, for that matter. You can start on a small scale, start testing the waters to see if you can have a viable business, still have the security of a day job, but don't let that fear hold you back.
And you have children, and you're
Yes.
married, and so you're able to find that balance. What are some of your?
It's all a mirage.
It's all mirage. This is true. What are you some advice that you would give to women too who were looking at that like, oh my goodness, I've got a husband and a family, and I've got this. What is some of that?
So some of it, and it's taken me a while, and I'm not always comfortable with it, but you have to start getting comfortable with it is not always going to balance. There's going to be times you're putting in work with that business,
Right.
or your profession. I mean, you're putting in work, and you're not as present as you want to be for your family. But you do have to, as much as possible, kind of strike a balance. To me, you have to time block, kind of keep that calendar, because when I get in work mode, I'm in work mode. I'm in creative mode. I'm a creator, but the way I create is I'm not an artist or that type of thing. I'm a creator in terms of connecting people. You would be surprised all day long as I'm hearing conversations in my mind. It's like puzzle pieces that I'm connecting people and I'm connecting ideas, and through the night. I mean, it's hard for me to turn it off.
I have the same thing too.
I probably get 3 to 4 hours of sleep because it's hard for me to turn it off. But calendaring is one of the things that has helped me to be able to time block. Okay, this is family time. I am not going to let anything cross into it. We have one daughter who's 14, and I empowered her last year. I said, look, mommy has to be present for you. So when it's mommy-daughter time, I said, you check me. If I'm picking up the phone and I'm sending texts and I'm not, tell me about it. And she does. Okay, mom, I am here. Put the phone down. And so that's something that's helped me a lot, to empower my family, to be able to say, no, this is our time. But you've got to be comfortable with the fact it's never gonna, all the plates aren't gonna spin.
And I think
at the
that
right time.
might be one of the hardest things. I can only speak as a woman. Is feeling at the end of the day, sometimes taking it too hard that you didn't get XYZ done. Like mine is maybe like, okay, well, I forget about all the successes that I had that day because I'm still looking at 2 loads of laundry and something else. Right, exactly. So I feel like as women, we have a tendency to sort of focus on what didn't get accomplished when, quite frankly, you know what I'm saying? I've had a very successful day, or my girlfriends have had a very successful day. And it's being able to say, okay, you've got to look at all of the things that you've accomplished today. And that is truly, 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 for me, the caliber of success is, did I wake up grateful and did I go to bed knowing I've done the best that I could do with what I had for the day? And that's it. And that's made a huge change for me because I had dedicated, after my degree, dedicated, my time to my children. And as they're getting older, I'm really venturing out more into doing some things that I've always dreamed of doing. And so I have less time to do, like to be the housekeeper that I was, or the chef that I, enjoy being. But if I think about all of the people that I've connected with and all of the stories that I've collected that day, and the positive things that we have done for our community, I really am. It is very successful. And girl, just getting through laundry sometimes is like, that's all I've done is laundry. I'm like, I'm still successful.
And a part of it is you need to be able to. And that's why documenting is so important. So at the end of the day, sometimes you may need to write down, what were my successes? Because we have short memories, and we don't look at all the things we did do that were successful.
Do you journal? I know someone who journals too.
I am starting to. I don't do it as diligently. I've got the journal. I don't do it as diligently as I need to, but I know it allows me to go back and see, oh, I had wins. I did win. Or when you because we all go through those down slopes of time, can look back and say, oh, but this happened, this good happened. I really do have a lot to be thankful for. And I wanted to thank you for, I meant to show it to you. I need to show it to you when we get off. So a friend of mine in Michigan, and we just connected online professionally, probably about 3 or 4 months ago, but she sent me a Facebook message over the weekend. She said, Terri, on Sunday, she said, Terri, I was in the hospital going through something, and I needed to, it was, late at night, and I just needed to laugh. And I was going through Facebook, and there it was, because it came up through my feed. She said, but the 2 ladies doing SOS. Because so she's from Michigan, and of course, with Dana. But she said, I laughed out loud in my hospital bed.
I can't wait to share that
with Dana. And she said, that's what I needed at that time. So y'all, so what you're doing is impacting far more than our local community.
Right. Oh, thank you very much. Well, I hope so.
Yes.
I hope so. So what are you, where do you kind of see yourself going now? And don't let me forget about the directory, but where do you see yourself going now?
So what I'm working on now is, in the immediate future, should be within the next month or so, I'm going to be launching a membership site.
Okay.
And that is going to be able to help moms who have daughters between 9 and 14. It's just providing resources, providing support and encouragement for them to raise empowered daughters. Just kind of bringing community together to raise
resources for them to maybe have,
to be able to have conversations, to be able to teach them. Exactly.
To give them some higher levels of confidence.
Absolutely.
Some public speaking opportunities.
Correct.
Those kind of things.
So that's one of the things I'm working on. Kind of the longer term vision for me is I really do want to do motivational speaking, and I have a whole brand where I want to help people go from fearful to ferocious. I want to help women do that. I want to help young women do that. I want to help couples in marriages do that.
Were you ever fearful?
Oh God, yes. Even today, I get, there are times when it's, can I do this? I think as women, we have so many layers of things that have been put upon us from being little, things that people have said to us, some, not maliciously, just what I call those gender boxes, people put us in, or boxes people put us in. Again, many times, not maliciously, but they don't know what they are saying to us when we're young as we're growing up. So yes, there are times that I go through, can I really do this? Am I qualified? I've got the, like the educational credentials and got the letters behind the name, but kind of sometimes that questioning, can I really do this? So,
you do have some letters behind your name. How was schooling for you?
So school was very interesting. When I left, because I grew up in Fannin down the road and went to school in Goliad, and I always felt that I was city mouse caught in the country, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to get out. Oh, I told my parents when I leave, because I went to UT, I said, when I leave, peace, I'm out. I'm not coming back. My dad was so mad at me because after high school graduation, literally within the first week, and we went to Kmart when Kmart was here, got my trunks. I had already packed my stuff, and I had all my stuff in the den, like in June, and I'm not leaving until September. All my stuff, and so I'm living out of my trunks. I had a countdown calendar on my door, on my bedroom door. 90 days left, 60 days left.
Oh my gosh!
My dad was so mad, but. So schooling, UT was a culture shock for me.
Right.
Coming from small town, it was like, oh wow, this is humongous.
You majored in finance, or did you major in business?
Marketing.
Oh, in marketing.
Majored in marketing. So kind of go down that line, and got out of UT pretty quickly, like 3.5 years. Came back. I was going to work with my dad at his restaurant. He was going to open up a steakhouse for me down the road, and just realized. It's very hard to work together with family.
Right.
And so that I saw that I needed to kind of go do my own thing, because he'd always see me as his little girl.
Right.
And I wanted to work with him, not for him. So at that time, I said, okay. I went on back to get my master's here at UHV and kind of start my own path. So I'm a big believer in education, but at this point in time, I'm not a believer that it has to be college or university education for everybody.
Right.
So I want people to continue to further their skills.
And that is really changing.
It is.
It is
And it's
really
exciting
changing.
to see that. I hope more people can embrace that, because there's so many young people that I think aren't reaching their potential because they're kind of forced into that box when that's not for them. It may be a vocation or some other type of education that's appropriate.
Who's your youngest client?
So my youngest client, non-paying, is Ayana, my daughter.
Oh, really? She is your client. I love
Yes.
it. I love it.
So I am helping her. She has a business she's starting. She's wanting to do she's working on a subscription box for girls, again, just to help them feel good about themselves, to help empower them.
Wow.
And so we're going through the whole business
Mandy
process.
is the first person who told me about subscription boxes, that those are so fascinating.
Absolutely.
Oh, tell your daughter, I wish her
Absolutely.
all the luck in the world.
Yeah, I sure will.
And she's got to come then when she gets
Absolutely.
her subscription box, when she gets her plan ready. I'd love to feature her.
That would
I
be
think that would be
fantastic.
fantastic. So you get to advise and guide her and you
Absolutely.
kind of say, hey, I'm kind of stepping out of the
Yes,
mom role.
here's
how we do that.
Absolutely. Here's the business role, but here you've got to make the decision on, what do you want to have in there and how you're sourcing it and that sort of thing. So it's pretty cool.
What are the most common questions that you get, Terri, when people are seeking your advice for, consultation?
So the most common question I get is, what do you do? What do you actually do? Because they see me online talking about so many different things, they're unclear with what I can actually help them with. So that's probably the biggest question I get. The next biggest question I get a lot of times is about funding, how they can get funding for their business, whether it's a new business, whether they're expanding, but they may have been turned down by a bank, or they've gone through the process with the small business SBDC, and they've tried to get a loan and they can't do it. And so a lot of times they'll come and ask me what else is out there.
Can you help them with funding?
Absolutely.
That was the other thing I wanted to make sure to address today, is that Terri can not only find tax incentives, but you do work with some secondary funding organizations that can come and help.
Absolutely.
With that. And you really probably take that very much to heart when you're working with someone. You're not just giving them the funding to go out and make a mess. It's really truly going to be a consulting.
Yes, absolutely. And a lot of times, because banks have really shorn up and kind of on those pocketbooks after we went through the recession, even though it was 10 years ago, they're still kind of holding those purses. And people just need to know what legitimate, because there are some predatory alternative lenders out there. They need to know what legitimate alternative lenders are out there, and does it make sense for them to use that as an option.
See, and I don't know if you saw this, but the Texian books, when she developed her business, and she was sitting here talking to me about it the other day, she said it was really very upsetting to go into a bank and they were like, so you're a single woman? And she was like, yes, and I've worked on my credit my entire youth, and I'm educated, and I have the backing and all of this. And so they were like, yeah, but so you're a single woman?
Right.
You don't have, and she just was like, that process was really interesting.
Yes.
Intriguing to her. So
Absolutely. But a lot of people don't realize it was just, if I remember correctly, the 70s really was when banks would start allow women to have their own accounts without a husband or a man being on it. So that's not too far removed.
Right, from where we are.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, but I just thought that was fascinating. I was like, oh yeah, no, I totally get that. I understand. So, well, this was wonderful.
Thank
so was there
you.
anything that you wanted to add?
So I'd just like to add that, again, I'm here truly to be a resource for people. Whatever is needed, I'm here to help. In addition to, again, tax incentives, being able to help with funding, I also, because I'm in that medical space, I also work with medical providers and medical offices, helping them be able to add different services to their practice to help make it more profitable and help provide great patient care.
Now, my last question to you is this.
Yes.
Tell me about this directory.
So with the directory, it is the Crossroads Business Women's Directory.
Okay, cool.
And so Amanda Wendell, really, she kind of took the reins with it.
Oh, wow.
So
thank you, Amanda.
Absolutely. So she's been working on it for the past couple of months, but you can look us up on Facebook. And what we ask women to do in the Crossroads, because we want to support other women business owners, you know, whether even if we don't need their services at the time, we want to be able to share their information. All we want them to do is be able to contact us through the Facebook page. They can send.
So it's Crossroads
Business Women's Directory.
Okay, Crossroads Business Women's Directory.
And they can send us their business card, snapshot of their business card. If they've got it digitally, we have different tags or different categories where you know, we'll put salon owners, hairdressers,
that's so fascinating. I'll do that for
Southbridge.
Southbridge.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
As soon as the interview is over.
Perfect.
Oh, very
perfect.
cool.
And we just want to get word out about business women in the Crossroads.
Oh, Terri, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
coming
thank
on.
you,
It's
thank you.
fun to actually sit aside in the chair with you. We do so many other things
Yes,
together.
ma'am. Thank you.
So this is Teri Moten from Moten Consulting Group.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you guys so much for watching South Bridge Street Live.